What's up, YouTubers? This is the Iceman here on the Iceman's Return Wrestling channel. It's a Saturday night, and I was thinking today about back in the 90s, the Monday Night Wars. And it was sort of funny because in the earlier days, before we had cable and stuff, it was so hard to watch professional wrestling. I know we had some local channels around here in Connecticut. We got to watch the WWF Superstars and what was the other show? W, WWF All Stars or WWF All Stars. And so that was all we really got to watch of professional wrestling. And, I remember Bob Backlund was champion in the WWF. I guess he recently just got the belt from Superstar Billy Graham. So I was watching it, and he started facing guys like Don Morocco, the Magnificent Morocco, um, and whatnot. But anyway, so back then we had like two channels, and they were UHF channels, and they were hard. They were hard to get in, to watch, and so we were really fortunate that when we got the reception good, we got to watch them. And I used to buy wrestling magazines and stuff as a young kid, and I used to hear about the NWA and the AWA, and I'm going, oh man, I wish I could see all these guys. These guys really sounded great. I heard about Ric Flair, um, and just reading about Ric Flair, I was intrigued, you know. But anyway, as time went on, cable came around our area, I think in like 1979, and but anyway, uh, I don't recall when TBS, the Superstation TBS started, but it wasn't until we got TBS, and I forgot what year that was, that I was really, really able to watch uh, what was going on in the NWA. I mean, I remember Saturday nights, it was on, I think, 6:05 to 8:05. I remember watching Clash of Champions and whatnot, but I really got to see more of other wrestling. And I don't think it was until ESPN came around that I got to see some of the AWA. I mean, I read about it. But anyway, to make a long story short, I started getting to watch all these different wrestling promotions because they all were territorial back then. And and that was the thing about it. I really enjoyed watching all these stars from all these different promotions. And then the WWF had they had a couple different shows. Tuesday Night Titans. Uh, there was a number of different shows. Those shows just really didn't last long. We had Saturday night's main event, which wasn't very often. USA Network used to carry the wrestling at Madison Square Garden, um, and unless you had cable at the time, it was very inexpensive. But it was when it first came out, and money was tight back then, and all. But you didn't get to watch those really great events that happened at Madison Square Garden. And they also had them at the Philadelphia Spectrum as well. But so anyway, as time went on, whenever I could see, worldwide wrestling, I'd watch it. I'd be home on a Saturday. I'd catch it on Channel 20, local Channel 20. Um, and I'd still continue to watch the WWF. And then, like I said, as cable went on, and then I moved with my late girlfriend Peggy. I moved with her in 1994. And then in 1995, I mean, I was watching Raw as War. And then in 1995, Monday Nitro started with WCW. And that opened a whole new world for me. I mean, I was like so ecstatic because I got away from the Saturday shows. I still watched them when I could, but we saw live events on Monday night. And the only thing that really bothered me was they went up against Raw's War. Now, Raw's War was from 9 to 11, and WCW Nitro was 8 to 10. So it gave me 1 hour to watch Nitro, and then from like 9 to 10, I would channel surf back and forth to see what was going on in Raw's War. I mean, that's the conflict I had, and I wanted to watch them both, you know. And I did have the VCR and all, but it was like you started doing that, but it got to be a real pain in the ass. But anyway, then Peggy came in one Monday night, and she says, "What the hell are you watching?" I said, "I'm watching Monday Nitro." And she goes, "What's that?" I go, "It's wrestling." And she's looking at it. She shook her head and she walked away, Then she'd come back into the room. And then she sat down. And before you knew it, she was a big WCW fan. I mean, she couldn't wait for Monday nights to show up to watch Monday Nitro. And the conflict I really had was, why did they have to go up against Raw is War? I mean, yes, they battled them out. I mean, they beat them in the ratings for I don't know how many weeks it was. But I wanted to watch them both. I was greedy, And then eventually WCW came out with Thursday Night Thunder. And wouldn't you know it, the WWE comes out with SmackDown. And they originally started on Thursday night as well. And then I'm saying to myself, you got to be kidding me. You guys are competing the same friggin' nights. I want to watch them all. And when it came down to the pay-per-views every month, they got a little pricey, but I will be the first person to admit that I bought more WCW pay-per-views than I ever did buy the WWE's or WWF's at the time. I invited my nephew Matt over. I mean, he was like a little kid. I mean, he was a big Ric Flair fan back then. He used to dress up for Halloween as Ric Flair. His mother used to get him a robe, put all glitter on it and whatnot. My little niece Cass, she was like 2 or 3. She's 18 now. She could care less, so I always bought coloring books and stuff for her to draw. But yeah, so I bought every WCW pay-per-view there was until the very end. And I'd have Matt come over every month. And then, and when it was an odd week, with the WWE's, I mean, I was paying, in actuality, I was paying over $180 a month on my cable bill back then. Now, this is in the 90s, no less. And it went on into the, the early 2000s. But I was paying all this kind of money because I was eventually buying both pay-per-views. I'd have Matthew come over, my nephew. I'd have my older nephew come over, Josh, with his girlfriend. I had chicken wings or I'd order pizza and whatnot. It was a great time back then. The Monday Night Wars, it was great. It was great. But I wish the wrestling were on different nights so then I could get my fill of every single show, every single minute, without missing anything. I mean, I got tired of channel surfing after a while, but I'll tell you one thing. Those were the days. Those really were the days of professional wrestling for me. The WCW was it for me. Ric Flair, the Four Horsemen, then the Outsiders began. Sting came back with the Dark Crow gimmick. I mean, I really liked Sting better back in the earlier days with the bleached short hair and the face paint and whatnot. But, I mean, this was back when wrestling was true wrestling. There was so many huge superstars. I mean, we had Macho Man Randy Savage in his prime. He was going back from the WWE to WCW. It was great. It was totally awesome. But I mean, I miss all that today. I really do miss all that today. I mean, I enjoy watching Monday Night Raw. I enjoy watching SmackDown. I enjoy watching TNA, Impact Wrestling. Occasionally I'll watch Main Event. But back in the middle 90s, for me, there was no better time in the world of professional wrestling because I got my full of everything. I mean, I think wrestling prior to that was much better. In the NWA days, I think the competition was greater, and I think the wrestling was just far much better. But again, things progress and they change. But the Monday Night Wars for me, I was like, oh God, it's Monday night now. I couldn't wait for 8 o'clock, and then 9 o'clock rolled around. All I did was, flip channels back and forth, see what's going on here, see what's going on there. Especially in the days of the Attitude Era with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, there was really nothing better than that. So anyway, I just wanted to share this with you guys. It was a great time for me in professional wrestling, especially when Monday Nitro was initiated back in 1995. And it's just days I'll never forget. And it's something I'll never forget as well as when my late girlfriend Peggy, I got her into watching professional wrestling, where she told me without any doubt she would never ever watch it. But she was more of a fan or just as much of a fan as I was. So that's my little story here, guys. Peace out. It's a Saturday night. Hope you enjoyed the video. Night of Champions tomorrow. I hope you all get to watch it. We'll have a review later on after the show. See you next time, guys.